Yeah, and the MLS as a league has been trending everywhere. Like on Google, it's flying. It's never trended this much in its existence. So most definitely they have won here. An amazing investment by them. What an initiative to by David Beckham and his team, as well as Don Garber and his team. It truly is a spectacular move. There wasn't the oil money thrown at Messi. It was just strategic thinking and negotiating, because to have someone of his caliber, he's only 35 years old still. He's still got a fair bit in him.
Yeah.
It really is a master. How can I say this? If you ever want to learn how to negotiate a deal, get Don Garber and David Beckham to sit down with you and take you through the way they did this Messi deal. It should become a case study.
Well, Beckham having been the guinea pig for this, almost over 15 years ago when he came over with the LA Galaxy and got his franchise for 25 million, which is now the Inter Miami CF. But again, a footballer of his caliber being able to communicate with Lionel Messi and to be able then to have partners like Apple and Adidas, who was already aligned with Messi, but Apple to come over and say, we've just made this 10-year, $2.5 billion investment in this league. And, there's one thing that will make this a slam dunk, and that's if Messi shows up. So what do we got to do to get him here? They sat in the room and said, we've got this subscription thing. We want to see it go. How about you come play in this league, we'll cut you in. I mean, imagine, Joe Burrow going into his negotiations, this season, and sitting down with the league and the league saying, we really want you to stay in the league. We'll cut you in on our TV deal, or our Red Zone subscriptions or whatever. Our Amazon Prime sits down with you and says, hey, we want you to be part of a subscription share on our Thursday night package. I mean, that's that hasn't been done in any other sport. And you have to have certainly a level of clout in order to even have that conversation hatched, from a corporate standpoint. But to be sitting in a negotiation, knowing what he had financially on the table in Saudi Arabia, to be able to go, I want this and I want to do that, and these are the reasons that I would come to MLS, and at the end of the day, I mean, it was kind of a perfect storm. Everything kind of came together, timing wise. Barcelona still a little bit financially strapped. The situation there, had not improved enough to where him going there was going to be, financially comfortable for the club, because they were going to have to make some moves and probably cost some talent. MLS found a way. Inter Miami found a way to not only get him, but to get a couple of close buddies of his, with Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets coming over, signing, and then potentially during his tenure, seeing players like Ramos, Iniesta, and Suarez, in conversation to find their way to South Beach is going to be.
Yeah, Ramos is a big one, actually.
Yeah. I mean, strategic players, that will fit very well in this system. And, look, Messi is fantastic. But if you've watched the last two games, Busquets has been just masterclass on the field in his back half.
100%. He's been the one that's setting it all up. Awesome. You mentioned the MLS deal. They've had some recent success. I mean, so just for some background, for those that don't know too much about what's happened with the MLS and Apple deal. So pretty much Apple is the broadcaster of the MLS moving forward for the next 10 years, $250 million a year, so on, so on. What's happened now is Messi's come in and he's put his link, he's put the subscription link for the MLS season pass in his bio. It's got 460 million people on Instagram, and their numbers have just exploded. They've just passed 1 million MLS season passes, which is a big deal because this has never been achieved before by them. So I think this investment's they're starting to see the fruits of this investment. Now, we covered a few weeks ago about them adding all these different reporters,
cameras,
broadcast technologies in general, and we didn't quite it didn't at the time. We knew it was needed to pretty much broadcast a league, but we didn't quite understand what's really going on. Now, here we are today. Messi's come through. Their production's got to be top notch. It's been okay so far. Hasn't crashed, nothing, which is good. And I could just imagine what's happening now with all this off-field content that's going to be created moving forward, and that's going to bring a ton of eyeballs. So it's been a real win, in my opinion, so far. And I think as the season moves into gear, and and fans start to hear more and more about Messi, because if he keeps playing the way he is, he's going to be making headlines every week.
Yeah.
So people are going to have to tune in, and where can they tune in other than Apple TV?
The occasional Fox broadcast, but Apple TV pretty much, and more importantly, there is a story here. Not that Lionel Messi's playing, that's obvious, but Inter Miami's in last place in the standings in the East. The games that we're watching right now are part of League Cup, not part of MLS play. So Inter Miami is still sitting in dead last. If they were in another league in another part of the world, they'd be on relegation line, right? And here we are, watching. Miami looks like a totally different club. They're playing at a whole new, different level. I mean, like I said, everybody has just matched the fact that they're on the field with probably the greatest player of their time. And now it's going to be, we'll see if they can make this magical run to the playoffs and maybe ultimately to an Anschutz Cup at the end of the day. But it's a crazy storyline, something that's going to draw the eyeballs. I think Apple had projected, somewhere around 650 to 700,000 subscriptions. It was kind of what they would hope they would get to by the end of the season. And you just mentioned they've topped they've topped 1 million already. They're playing with house money. Obviously we saw
Is that all they projected?
Well, their goal, they felt that 700,000 subscribers for this year would be a great start, for this, this partnership. Messi is just, as with anything, it's just changed the narrative. Now you've got, we saw in the highlight of his first goal on the free kick. What did we have? 16 different camera angles of that shot.
Yeah, it was. So it was. Yeah.
If Messi wasn't kicking that, you got 3 cameras, one behind the goal, you got one on the sideline, and one maybe from the back end.
Spider.
Yeah.
Spider.
Yeah. But you had every angle. You had several handheld shots from La Familia, in the back of the net, as it came to him. So, the world is watching, and when that happens, I mean, really everything's on display. And the theater of a man with all that pressure, all those expectations, all those celebrities that showed up with their kids, that night to see him debut, and then for him to do that. just
Who was there? The so-called biggest stars in the world were there to watch the
yeah.
king.
Well, you had LeBron, you had Kim Kardashian, you've had
DJ Khaled was
DJ
there as
Khaled was
well.
there this
Yeah,
last game.
yeah,
Puff Daddy was there.
he did it. Yeah,
You've got you got all kinds of
the list goes on, as they say.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's South Beach. They're there.
sure,
So again,
sure.
you've got a who's who of folks there. The great picture of David Beckham just sitting there, just taking it all in, watching him getting ready to take the
He
pitch.
got teary.
Oh
He
yeah,
got
well
teary.
he got all teary when he scored the goal, but
Yeah,
just him taking the field, just that the footballer in him didn't need to pull out his phone and record anything. He just felt that whole moment just washed over him, and then obviously the goal, it's just like he's like, as he said, he goes, as soon as he saw it, he's like, this is how it's supposed to be. I mean, here we go, 92nd minute,
yeah.
good 26, meters out, on free kick, perfectly positioned to curl in with the left foot, money shot, you know.
Have we heard anything from the sponsorship standpoint? Any new interest? Brands fighting to make their way in? Is the interest steady? What's the goss there?
Well, I mean, obviously there's a new stadium coming down the line with this club. There's a lot of new interest in being all things Inter Miami, all things pink, as they say. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I obviously there's renewal discussions on whether who's staying on the kit. They've got a new sleeve partner, the Fract Group, that is on the sleeve. But look, I anticipate there's some very active and fruitful conversations going on. I mean, naturally, um, this is it's gravitational pull right now, that the world is watching this club, uh, and I'm sure they're having some very significant conversations about brand partnerships. Obviously, they've got a great relationship uh, with Auto Nation, as the naming rights partner of their current park and on their practice and training kit. They've got you know obviously our client is still very active, as the kit partner right now. So lots going on in that market, and I would imagine we might see a few announcements here in the near future of new partners, or maybe even some renewals. I think there's some renewals that are trying to get across the finish line before Messi starts scoring too many more goals.
So, in terms of renewals, how much do you think the increase would be now compared to what they had?
What was that?
In terms of renewals, brands that want to renew, right? What are we looking at in terms of percentage of increase?
Oh, well, I mean, it depends on where they are in their deal, right? If someone's up for renewal right now, you're talking about probably one more year in the current building, and then another year potentially into the new building, and then that's the end of Messi's cycle. So I would imagine that the club is trying to leverage right now any renewal deal, at a 3-year minimum. So you've got 2 years in Messi and a year after, so that you don't have this drop off, much like what the Cleveland Cavaliers did when LeBron second time around. They made everybody re-up for 3 years, and then he went to LA. So there's a lot of courtside seats sold, thinking they were watching LeBron for 3 more years, and he was in LA. So yeah, I would imagine you're probably seeing a nice 15-20% increase across the board. Um, but what you're also seeing is, I think you're seeing that we're not looking at 1 or 2 year extensions that sync up with Messi. I think you're looking at ones that are going to sync up with not only beyond his current agreement, but into what will be into the new stadium, at least the first year in.
Thank you very much, Rob. Take care, everyone. We'll catch you all next week.
Take care.